And now to the Vatican, where Pope Francis is proving he's a little out of this world. In his Monday morning mass, the Pope said even if Martians from outer space came to ask him to be baptized, he would do it. The Pope was speaking about a story from the Bible where a group of non-Christians received the Holy Spirit. This is exactly what he said. That was unthinkable if, for example, tomorrow an expedition of Martians came, and some of them came to us here, Martians, right? Green with that long nose and big ears, just like children paint them, and one says, but I want to be baptized. What would happen? The Pope went on to say he would not turn anyone away and asked, who are we to close?
Yeah, that the Illuminati will play out the things that has been written in the book of Revelations. They did say in the Montauk lessons that we got, that they used the Bible as a guidebook.
Right.
So that means in this case the book of Revelations, I would guess, because that is played out how the Antichrist come to the front, and also when Israel made a false peace for 3.5 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, and so this is this is really just quite profound information, and I want to bridge now, because with the whole Illuminati agenda, what a lot of people are really realizing at this point is that it's not just a geopolitical move to bring in a geopolitical system. It is a spiritual, trans-dimensional move. And a lot of people's research is leading them, including mine and all the information that I'm getting from all over the place, including yourself, to conclude that it's not just human agents. I mean, there are human agents working with various types of powers, beings, and entities. We call them fallen angels, demons, hybrids, and everything in between. What do you know? And I know that we'll be expanding on whatever you say here over time, but what can you introduce us to from your experiences on the subject of the alien abduction agenda, what people are calling that, and I guess also the whole hybridization program? And of course, let me just introduce it this way, folks. The Bible is clear in Matthew chapter 24, verse 37, that as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. The defining characteristic, or one of them, of the days of Noah was an ongoing hybridization agenda. This was related to the Nephilim. This is what we're exploring. Robert, what can you tell us?
Okay, that's on itself already a subject you can fill a whole program with. Connected with what we call aliens, to me they are Nephilim hybrids. That is the first point I want to make. I know we call them in modern day terminology aliens, and unfortunately I dealt with them myself from my first year onwards, and also before my mother died. God has a soul. She died now 13 years ago, but 2 years before she came clean about certain things. She told me that she was never allowed to tell anyone, as the family told, if she would tell certain things, they would put her away in an asylum for life and punish her daily in there. And one of the things she told me was that when I mentioned that I saw like what is known as little gray men, she also mentioned to me then that she also saw them when she was young. So in her case, we talk about then in the 1940s and onwards. And when we talk about the Nephilim hybrids, people seem to think when we talk about Nephilim, we talk about 20+ feet high giants. That was people, when you're listening this, that is the old Nephilim that we talk about in the biblical sense. But over the last 3,000-4,000 years, also they have developing further instead of getting bigger. They have now been shrinking themselves so that they also can be absorbed and less detected in the human population. And when we take a look at the whole alien abduction, it's a hybridization program in order to mix their genes again, as it said in the old times of the Bible, when the fallen angels were mixing their genes with the woman in biblical times. They're doing it now again all over, but in a different package. And now they look like gray aliens or praying mantis type or reptilians or even Nordics. And on that part, people always seem to think, oh yeah, those nice looking Nordics, and they come here as our friends and in peace. But what people have to realize when we talk about the whole spectrum of aliens, in the end, all of them, they work for the same employer or boss, who we all know as Satan. And no matter if they're looking as a Nordic Pleiadian with blonde hair or red hair or brown hair, doesn't matter, and the reptilians, of course, they bring it now as if the Nordics are the good guys and the reptilians and the Greys are the bad guys. The scenario of the good cop and the bad cop, what they are playing out. That is how they kind of look to appear. And also, this is all part of what they will call in the future, or what we call the great deception that is coming. And they will also kind of say in the future, when they kind of land and make contact with the UN and other institutions and countries, they will say then to humans that they were the ones who created us, and that they are our parents and what more, and that they come back to help us to overcome all the problems, etc. But it's just a blatant lie, because they are the agents of darkness from the satanic forces of Satan. And the whole hybridization program, again, is in order to mix their genes, to pollute the human genes with their own, and to create hybrids that can be demonized, in which they can put a disembodied or disincarnated spirit, or what we call a demon, can put it in there, and that they can create from the inside out again more havoc. Also, part of this is also to corrupt the human genome again, so that God also will go against us, because as in biblical times, we are also allowing us to get our genes being polluted, in this case by aliens, who of course from the start has been telling us to lie, that they are here for the good and they are here to help. Well, that is just a blatant lie and nothing more or less. And concerning my own life, I had hundreds, if not thousands, of abductions through my complete childhood and adult life. And most of those abductions, I was brought to various bases, so on this earth, under the earth, and also on the moon. And in those bases, it was not only the gray aliens or reptilians that I also have seen, but also other beings. But in my opinion, when we look to the grays in particular, they are robotic. And they also possess, like what you see with certain insect and hive mind. But they certainly don't have a soul matrix, or certainly not a soul as how God created us humans. So I will say to people, when you deal with this subject, and especially in the future, when the government kind of come up with telling us they made contact with beings from the Zeta Reticuli or Wolf, some other planet with a certain number, or the Pleiades, don't trust the source or the government in this.
数年前に流出し、未確認飛行物体、いわゆる UFO だとされた映像を正式に公開し、未確認の現象だと説明しました。
8 of them. Look on the ASA. My God.